Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I want to show you 9 of my top books that I want to start this new year of 2021. So most of the books were on my reading list for quite some time and now I've decided to read them for the new year. So yeah, I just want to share with you some of these books that I find really interesting and I'm really excited to read them. Hopefully you want to read them too, and if you want to come along with me on this journey of reading the books, make sure you follow me on Instagram. I will share my progress there. This would be really great to have you on this as well. So the first book that I've chosen to read, and I wanted to read it because this is such an important and really interesting topic, is the book Planet of Slums by Mike Davis. And as you can imagine from the title, it's about slums on Earth. So this was a book that was recommended a few times in my lectures when studying architecture. So this is quite architecture related topic and book, but I think it's quite interesting for also normal people that are not studying architecture. So the book is about slums that already exist on the earth, but also about the expected global urbanization explosion that will happen in the next 30 years. As I said, I think this is a global problem of many people, and I think this is an important topic to address and to know about this issue and what effects it has on the society and the population. So this is really like a non-fiction book. It's rated on facts. So yeah, I hope I will get some really interesting information about slums and about the earth as well. So yeah, this one is the first book. So the next book I chose is We Are the Weather, Saving Planet Begins at Breakfast by Jonathan Safran Foer. I hope I spelled it correctly, and it's about the climate crisis and how we can do something to save the world. And this is as well a non-fiction book. It's also about the fact how we can help the earth to stop the extinction of our race, and probably it has quite a lot to do with our diet, because this is also an author of the book Eating Animals, so I expect it to be quite about veganism and all that stuff. So I think this will be an important topic for me, an important book, because as you may know, I have been vegan or plant-based for quite a time. If you haven't seen my previous videos about this, I will put this up here. Going back to the point that the author is talking about what a single person can do to help the climate crisis and, as I said, the extinction of a race. So yeah, this is also a non-fiction book, and I hope I will find some value in this. I hope that it will be quite interesting. The third book on my list is a fiction book that I wanted to read for quite a time, and it's The Girl of EmperorEarring by Tracy Chevalier, and it's about this picture here on the book cover with the same name as the title of the book. That was painted by a Dutch painter in the 18th century or something. So this is a portrait of an anonymous girl, and the whole book is about this painting, about the painter and how this painting portrait came about. I heard so much about this book, and I always wanted to read it, but I had some objections about this book to read it because I heard it's not quite as captivating as it says it to be. But I think doing a story about something that is not really known, I find it quite an interesting approach for a story. So I wanted to read that, and I hope this will be something nice to read and just flipping through this. So the next book on my list is again a non-fiction book that is so timely as it can just get. So this is this book, How to Survive a Pandemic by Dr. Michael Greger. The author talks about infectious diseases that has been on Earth and has been bothering humans for a long time. So he goes really into the history, and also in this year's and last year's pandemic of COVID-19. So this is really just like really relevant book that I wanted to read also because of the whole situation that is going on the earth. So what I'm really looking forward to in this book, it says that Dr. Greger is talking about how we can protect ourselves during a pandemic, but also what humans need to do in order to stop further catastrophes like a pandemic itself. Yeah, I think this will be a really interesting read, really relevant one as well. So The Mother Code by Carol Stivers is the 5th book on my list, and it's a new release of 2020, so it's quite a new book. It's a science fiction book that explores what it means to be human. There's a plan to place engineered children inside a cocoon of a robot mother, so really absurd somehow. So they have to be incubated, birthed and raised by the machines. So just imagine that. And there's still an intelligence programmed into these machines that are still giving hope of preserving the human order, and this is the Mother Code. So this sounds like really one of a science fiction captivating sort of book. I just love that, and I can't wait to read this. So this sounds really nice, and also like a topic that about machine intelligence and like what does it mean to be a human. I think these are really interesting topics to put into a book. So this one is another new release of 2020. It is called Migrations, and it's by Charlotte McConaughey. I hope I spelled it right. And this is also a fiction book, like a novel. The book is about a woman that is an ornithologist that wants to follow the last Arctic terns on the Earth on their migration from Greenland to Antarctica. She goes on a fishing boat, she talks her way into it and goes with them to Antarctica. And on the way there are several stories about her past, passionate love affair, an absent family and a devastating crime. So this sounds really interesting. So I read some reviews about this book, and it turns out this is quite a book about personal but also global problems. Also, it discovers the question about what place does a human being have in this world alongside with other animals, and it really tells us that people are also animals. So this is really interesting, and I think it's really thrilling as well. So yeah, I also look very forward to reading that book. My 7th book on the list for 2021 is this book. It's Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind by Yuval Noah Harari. So I think many people have already read this book, but I still think it's something that is not out of date somehow, because this is a history of our kind. So wanted to read this book also very long time ago, and finally got this copy of my own. I will just read the back of the book because I think it's just to the point. It says, "Fire gave us power, farming made us hungry for more, money gave us purpose, science made us deadly. This is the thrilling account of our extraordinary history, from insignificant apes to rulers of the world." So this is really like the whole history of our kind, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to read this, to know more about us. So the next book is Fiftive. It's a collection of short stories by Olga Tokarczuk. It's a Polish Nobel Prize writer that I really love. I have already read Flights and The Drive to Plow Over the Bones of the Dead. These are two very good books I really loved. It's called Bizzare Stories, and as far as I know, it's not been translated into English yet, but it's definitely in German and in Polish, of course. Each of the stories is taking place on a different in a different place, you know, like for example, something is taking place in history, something in Asia or Switzerland. So it's really interesting to have like different perspectives on different places. What is really interesting about this book is that the author pushes the reader out of the comfort zone to show that our world is less comprehensible than we think it is, and that the reality as we know is not as it seems. So a really interesting approach to life somehow, and I hope it will give me some different perspectives on different topics maybe. The title is like Bizzare Stories, and maybe bizarre is like really strange and maybe strange, and I think yeah, it has some relevance in today's world. Also, why is our world as it is, and why is it so strange? So I was never really a big fan of short stories as it is, because I like to dive in a story that is really long. But yeah, as I said, I really like the author, and I hope the book will change my mind about short stories, and I will gain some new perspective on things through this book. So the last book on my reading list for the start of 2021 is The Swarm by Frank Schätzing, and this is a hell of a book. As you see, this is like almost 1,000 pages long. It's really crazy. I've got it in Polish because I got it from my grandpa, but it's written original in German, so it doesn't make sense, but I will just read it as I have it. You know, this is such a fat book, so that's why I put it on the end, because I don't know how long it will take me to read this, because this is really long. I haven't read such a long book, I think. Getting to the point, this is an eco-thriller based on scientific knowledge, which I can just guess is so captivating. So in this book, the nature is taking revenge for everything that the humankind has caused through marine animals. It has like really big consequences, like there are people dying and all that stuff. And in all this, a team of scientists discovers a strange, intelligent life force called the YRR that takes form in marine animals, and using them to wreak havoc on humanity for ecological causes. There's a whole struggle between the good and evil, and in this battle the stake is the Earth's fragile ecology, ultimately the survival of human race itself. So another book really concerned about our world and our human race. So this is it's been a very successful book, I think. I'm really looking forward to read that. As I said, it's based on scientific knowledge, so I think this is so cool, and yeah, I hope I will get through this really fat book. So I hope you find these books that I shared right now with you for the new year of 2021 as interesting as I did. Yeah, make sure you also subscribe to my channel if you like it here, and yeah, I will see you in the next video then.